of course, we're joined here in studio with Governor Dan McKee. Governor, thanks for making some time for us. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Dan.
So you had some time to actually speak one-on-one with the Secretary of Transportation. Can you just tell us a little bit about what those conversations were about?
Well, first, we're very happy that he's here, and the president knows what's going on. I had that conversation with him, so I think that sets it up. He's very interested in what's happening in Rhode Island, and he's indicated that.
And obviously, you're which no one likes to do. You have to ask him first. Where's the cash? Where's the money? Right?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Right.
And he's indicated today that they're going to be very supportive. What we need to do now is we need to get out with our request for proposals, right, to take the bridge down and then to build a brand new bridge, which I think is good. That's going to last us well past my lifetime and maybe yours too.
Yeah,
Dan.
I hope probably.
So 100 years or so. So we're going to get a brand new bridge. And the federal government, with our delegation, with Senator Reid and the rest of the Senator White House and congressmen are going to help us do that.
Will that just be federal money coming towards us, or is there some kind of attachment to it, or is that still in the infancy?
So traditionally, it's about an 80-20 split. You know, that the state comes up with 20, the federal government comes up with 80. It's a federal highway. And we're expecting that. There's not a firm commitment that we're going there, but also the Secretary did indicate that if we can have other programs that can reduce the state's cost, and then he's open for us to apply for those funds.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that he said that this particular bridge is kind of almost the worst kind of bridge, and he's actually going to make sure that if there's any other bridges that were built like this one across the country, to take precautions. That kind of hit some people like a punch in the gut.
Yeah, the design of that back in the 60s was not very good. In fact, it seems to be about a one of a kind in the state and maybe in the country. And that's what we discovered through the process of I'm bringing on an engineer to verify all the engineer reports. And that when it moved from a 90-day get back to work to a no, we got to put a brand new bridge in there. That changed the dynamics significantly, and that's why the federal government is coming in now with our congressional delegation. Very positive day in terms of the fact that we're going to need their help, and the indications are we're going to get the help.
Right. I know that you talk about the day of reckoning, and there was a news conference there where you raised your voice. I've covered you for years. You usually don't do that. There's a lot of still confusion as to how this was missed, and I know you get asked that quite a bit, but that seems to be the number one thing that our viewers want to know is how did this get missed by the company that was hired to do the inspection and then the DOT?
Yeah, I understand exactly why we feel that way, because I feel that way. And we went from a 90-day back to work to no 90-day, taking the funds that were left, that unspent on that $78 million contract, and actually put those towards the demolition and work ahead. As it became clearer and clearer as we met up to that press conference, that we were going to be replacing and building a brand new bridge. Right. I think my frustration is similar to what the frustration is. Like I said, I believe that this should have been caught years ago. The design of that bridge. I think that the times that we've actually looked at the bridge with engineers, I believe that they should have caught this way back when. This should have been fixed long ago. And now we're going to have to do what we need to do, which is actually build a brand new bridge.
Right. Does your predecessor, Gina Raimondo, does she have any responsibility with this?
Well, I think the first look is the people who actually did the inspections, and that's what we're doing. And then I brought an engineer in that works for me, independent of DOT, so that we can compare notes. I think we come to a conclusion that is the best thing that we can do. The same thing there. We're bringing in a legal team right now to take a look at, to work with the legal team at DOT.
So there's probably going to be some lawsuits, I assume.
I would imagine there would be, based on my experience, and I have had experience in this area, recouping funds when I was a mayor, in similar cases, legal ways, or whether it's recouping money from the National Grid when they got the advantages.
So this could get somewhat ugly. The other thing I thought was interesting is the Secretary said that if it was not caught, that this bridge could have collapsed. Is there any criminal culpability that could be coming along with this at all?
Well, that's what we got the legal team, Dan, to do. I think that's really important. Just like I wasn't prepared until we made the announcement that we're going to build a brand new bridge. I didn't want to kind of lead into that, and even on interviews I had with you, I know I didn't answer the questions completely because I didn't know the answers completely. So let's find out on the legal side of things. I've had experience to make sure that we maximize any recoveries that the taxpayers should receive.
Right.
And also there'll be federal recovery too, because there's an 80-20
Right.
split here.
All right, I have only a couple of minutes, so I want to get to two other questions. The other one is you seem like the day of reckoning, you're going after the contractors. You're kind of tiptoeing around Peter Alviti, and some people are wondering, the buck stops with him.
Yeah, and I think that it's fair. The buck stops with me too. So I think that it's based on what you know and when you know it and what you do, right?
Okay.
So let's get the forensic results. Those are coming shortly, and it's clearly it will indicate why we're doing what we're doing and building a brand new bridge. And we'll take a look at what people knew and when they knew it.
Right.
And then clearly, if people knew things that they didn't share with us to get into the right direction, they got to be held accountable as well.
I want to ask you something. It seems to be a big secret about the person that actually discovered this. First, we were told he was a low-level engineer. Then somebody said he might be a painter. And we've tried to reach out to the person to do the interview, and we've just been kind of sandbagged. So what's the secrecy around the person who actually found the problem?
Well, I think it's because he worked for the companies that were doing the work on the bridge. So I'm not really clear on the details of what that individual did.
Do you know who he is?
I was introduced to him, but I don't know him.
Okay.
And but at the same point in time, I think that it's up for the companies that are doing the work there to explain what function that individual had. I think that we were getting there. As you know, they were doing work a weekend before I knew what was going on, which again I made mention that I was not very pleased about.
Yeah.
But at the same point in time, we'll do the look back because we need to. But we really need to stay focused, as the Secretary said today with our congressional delegation. Let's fix this bridge. Let's build a new bridge, which I think is a lot better than a fix.
Right.
And let's get it done as quickly as we can. Our focus right now, Dan, is to make sure that we are doing it, and we're working every single day to make sure that we meet this deadline that we've set, which is the summer of '26. And all indications from our engineers says that that's a doable issue.
All right, Governor, I got to hold you there, but I appreciate your time. Give my best to your mother.
Yeah, that's right.
And we'll see you next month.
We love our moms.
There you go, for our live interview. Thank you very much, Governor.
Thank you.